In this tutorial, we're going to create a scrolling game. So to start, what we're going to do is delete the cat. And then the next thing we're going to do is make up two variables, scroll X and scroll Y. In a scrolling game, one way to achieve the scrolling is to make the background do the moving. To do that, we need to make the backgrounds the sprites. I'm going to choose a background here and import that as a sprite. To make the background do the scrolling, what we're going to have to do is add this code to it. So go here, and in your script, start with when the flag is clicked, forever, set X and set Y, and then we're going to need an operator, and we'll need the variables here. Oh, wait, I forgot one part. We need two operators. So you're going to take the plus, and in the second part of the plus operator, add the multiplication and pop that in. And then scroll Y in the first part and scroll X in the first part there. And then here, the numbers are going to be 480 and 0 and 480 and 0 again. So that's the first scrolling background. You'll probably want to add 2 or 3 more backgrounds to make your game scroll a bit longer. So let's add these other backgrounds. So again, add the sprite. I'm just going to import the exact same one. And the script, this one is when clicked, go under looks, and we're going to need go to front, so it'll overlap over the other one, but go back 12 layers so that all your other sprites in front are able to stand in front of it. Then we'll need another forever. And then we'll do the same thing as we did with the operators. Look at the motion first. Set X and set Y. Pop the variables in. 60, and this time we'll multiply that by 1 so it does scroll, and then 480 here, still by 0. Okay, so now we can just duplicate this sprite and change the scroll X parameters. Because the background is around 480 movements along the X axis, you're going to have to add the 460 and the 480 together to get 940. But if you do that, you'll have a tiny little gap between the two backgrounds, so I usually subtract about 10, so I'm going to put 930 in. Notice that we're only changing the X, the scrolling X right now. That's because I only needed to move left and right. If you wanted the scrolling to move up and down, you would change the y-axis. Now in order to get things scrolling, we need to add a script to the stage. So click on stage and go into the script section and drag down when flag is clicked. And then we're going to need the variables set x and set y. So you're going to set x, so when the flag is clicked, you want to set the x to 10, because that's about the starting point on the screen, and set y to -15. And then to get things moving, we're going to need the forever if, and then we're going to need the sensing. I'm going to do left arrow pressed. And we're going to get the variable again. We're going to change scroll x by 1 seems kind of slow, so I'm going to pick 5. So this will move the background right so that it looks like your character is moving left. And then to move everything the opposite way, we'll need another when clicked, forever if, right arrow pressed, change scroll x by -5. Now it should work. So when you hit the left, it scrolls, and the right, it scrolls back and forth. So notice that there's a little gap up here with the scroll at the top. That has to do with the scroll Y. So it needs to be a little bit higher. So let's try. So it's moving up. I'll try just 0. That moved it up all the way. And then the scroll X doesn't quite start where I want it to start. So we need to move it back. So we'll do not enough. Okay, we'll just do 0. That should be perfect. There we go. So that's how you would move the starting screen around. Just play around with the numbers and you'll eventually get it. Online, I searched for Snow White sprites and I found one that I liked. I'm just going to add Snow White in here. So there's Snow White. I'm going to add this one in. And maybe we'll make her a little bit bigger. She looks really tiny. So this will make her bigger. There we go. And then we can add some costumes to make it look like she's moving. Okay, so now we need to add some scripts to Snow White. We'll just move her down here so it looks like she's walking on the ground. So when clicked, go to front, so that she'll always be in the front layer, the first front layer. So now I'm going to want to change the costume so that when she walks, it looks like she's walking and not that she's gliding across the screen. So I need the forever. And next costume. So we start. You'll notice that her feet are moving, but they move really quickly, so it looks like she's running. I want to make it look like she's walking. So I'm going to take this wait 1 second, and I'm going to try maybe 0.05 seconds and see how that looks. Now it looks like she's walking. So the reason for the wait 0.05 seconds is that there's a delay in the next costume change. Now we have Snow White walking. Let's give her something to do. So I found this sprite online. It's a very foresty looking sprite. Let's add him in there. Maybe make him a tad bit bigger. There we go. I want to drag him down. Okay. I made a sprite 6 by mistake, so I gotta delete that. Okay, and this sprite also has some costumes, so I'll have to add those in. It's kind of cool, it makes it look like he's moving. And then we're going to want to do the same thing that we did for Snow White and her walking. When clicked, go to front, so he stays in front of the backgrounds. And then forever, wait. Costume. So now let's play that and see what happens. So you can see that he's moving right there. Now I want to place him at a certain point on the screen. So what I'm going to do is create another variable, and I'm going to call this one movement. Okay. I don't need to see the movement on the screen. We'll need another when flag is clicked. And then I'm going to go into variables and set movement to, and I'm going to want to put him maybe at about 700 in, and then I'm gonna put show so he shows up, and then another forever, set X to, we need the operators again. And we need the variable. So we're going to go scroll X plus movement. So because the background's moving, we want him to show up at a certain point in the background and not at a certain point on the screen. So that's why we do that. So this should work. And what we have, keep moving, is he shows up at that point in the screen. So that works. Now I want to make Snow White jump so that she can avoid the stump when she comes across it on the screen. Let's add that to the script. So I'm going to do when space key is pressed, change Y by 60. Sounds about right. So get from the motion, change Y by 60. Okay, so every time you hit the space bar, Snow White will jump on Y by 60. But what goes up must come down. So what we'll want to do is do a wait so that she's airborne for a little bit. Maybe half a second. And then change Y again to negative 60 to bring her back to where she was before. So now let's see how that works. She's walking along, pressing the space bar, and she'll jump and drop back down. Jump and drop back down. So that works. Now let's create a health bar to give the player a little bit of incentive to avoid the monsters. So what we'll need to do is create a variable for health. And you'll want to see, you'll want to see that on the screen. Sprite for health. And then, in order to have the health affect Snow White, you need to add this script to all the monsters you put on the screen. So, when clicked, forever if, then under sensing, we'll need to grab touching, Sprite 4, which is Snow White, change health, which would be under variables. Oops. We'll need to change the variable. So delete health, and when we create health again, we have to make it for all sprites. Okay, shows up on the screen. Go back to the sprite, change health, there we go, by -1. And then we'll go to Snow White. And we need to set the health somewhere. So when clicked, set health to, so when you start the game, maybe she has a health of 30. And so you can see the health on the screen. I guess we don't really need the scroll X and the scroll Y. But it is helpful if you're trying to figure out where you are on the screen. Alright, so let's give this a try. So we play, and you'll see that she starts with a health of 30. And she's walking along, and she can jump when you press space. And then when she comes across the monster, she loses health. Okay, and now you can tweak and add everything that you want, any extra monsters or an endpoint. There's a great tutorial that I'll add a link to that helps you make really realistic leaps so that when she jumps up in the air, she has a slow falling. And there's another one that teaches you how to add friction so that when you start walking, it's a little bit slower than and then you can pick up the pace and start running. But these are just the basic steps to get you started. But what you choose to do and where you choose to go is completely up to you. Play around and discuss with your peers and make new discoveries. But always remember to have fun.